In a Pokemon Nuzlocke, there are a few rules. We can only catch the first encounter on each route. We have to nickname that Pokemon. If it faints, it is dead. It has to be permanently boxed. What makes it a hardcore Nuzlocke is we can't use items in battle, no overleveling past the gym leader's ace, and the battle mode must be on set at all times. Last time, we did a Smeargle-only run of Pokemon Platinum. It was a lot of fun, learned a lot about Pokemon Platinum, haven't done many runs of that game. Today, however, I want to attempt a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon FireRed using only bug types. Kanto doesn't have a lot to offer when it comes to bugs. Gen 3 in general is pretty lackluster. I think bugs come into their own in Gen 4, that's just my opinion. As far as encounters go, we have the Caterpie line, we have the Weedle line, we have the Venonat line, we have the Paris line, we have Scyther, and Pinsir. That is all that is available for us in Kanto. However, Pinsir is a Leaf Green exclusive, and Scyther is a Fire Red exclusive. Very typical for these Pokemon games. However, we've got friends in low places that can get us a new starter like Pinsir instead of Bulbasaur. Super nice. I've never actually used Pinsir in a single playthrough, so I want to use it in this playthrough. I also want to use Scyther. So here it is. We only have 6 encounters this whole run. We are going to nickname it Hercules. Can you guys guess the name theme? Let me know in the comments section below. I will be announcing what it is at the end of the run. Now, our Pinsir has a quirky neutral nature, which is pretty nice. This thing does have a pretty decent attack stats, and it learns some fighting moves, which is pretty nice. It doesn't learn any bug moves, which is super hilarious. But like I said, we've never used one of these, so I'm excited to see. And it does learn Seismic Toss before level 14, so we might actually stand a decent chance against Brock. Now, as far as our early encounters go, on Route 2, we actually have a 5% chance of finding either a Caterpie or a Weedle. That will guarantee us the other encounter in Viridian Forest. It might be a Kakuna or a Metapod, but let's get our first encounter. So we did catch this bold plus defense minus attack Weedle named Achilles on Route 2. It's rather weak, and that minus attack is not going to be great for a future Beedrill, but we'll take what we can get. Our next encounter is a mild Caterpie named Orpheus. This has a plus special attack minus defense nature. That's pretty good for a future Butterfree. This thing is going to have compound eyes and sleep powder, which is very, very usable. Now that we have all of our encounters and we've gained some levels, let's go take on Brock. I do have a bit of a strategy here. We've edged Butterfrees almost to level 15. But we didn't go over the level cap of level 14. We'll take Geodude out with a couple of confusions, and then we can learn Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder is a 75 accurate move, but with Compound Eyes it becomes about 97% accurate, so we're going to be able to do some shenanigans considering Butterfree is quad weak to Rock. We're going to put the Onix to sleep and switch into Hercules anyway. Of course, the Onix does not stay asleep but one turn, so it hits a decent Rock Tomb. Although it doesn't do as much damage as I thought it would, we hit a Seismic Toss, and instead of going for Rock Tomb, Onix just goes for Bind, so 2 more Seismic Toss take it out. That was actually a relatively easy battle. Had we not had Pinsir, we could have just ran sleep strategies, but we may have lost Butterfree in the process. We next meet a quiet Paris named Theseus. It has a plus special attack minus speed nature. It has the Effect Spore ability, which is nice. This thing will learn Spore if we don't let it evolve for a couple of levels. It does have some glaring quad weaknesses, but we have a 4th teammate. Next up is the rival battle in Cerulean. He leads with Pidgeotto, and I lead with Hercules. First use Vice Grip, which looks like it does about half damage. It goes for Gust, which deals a decent amount of damage. I go for another Vice Grip, and it doesn't quite KO it. So Pidgeotto gets a Sand Attack off. We KO it with the next Vice Grip, and out comes Charmander. I'm extremely nervous about this. We hit it with the Vice Grip, which does about half damage. It hits us with an Ember, taking us deep into the yellow, and a second Vice Grip finishes it off. Thankfully, we did not lose any attacks to the Sand Attack or the next Ember probably would have taken us out. We did have an Oranberry just in case, and out comes Abra, so we swap into Achilles. We take out the Abra with a few Fury attacks. Last is Rattata, and so we also take it out with the same technique. We did have 2 other Pokemon to deal with Rattata if we needed, but that is the Gary battle in the bags. After Nugget Bridge and the Cape, we have Misty. She leads with Staryu, and we lead with Theseus. I did teach it Bullet Seed from Mount Moon. Staryu goes for Harden, however, our Bullet Seed takes it out. Next up is Starmie, and we go for Bullet Seed again. It hits 3 times, and Starmie hits us pretty decent with Swift. We go for 1 more Bullet Seed, and it hits 5 times, not getting the KO. She hits us with another Swift. We almost lose Theseus, so we swap out into Achilles. Achilles uses Twin Needle, which is super effective against Starmie. We take it low. It hits us with a critical hit, Water Pulse, taking us deep into the red. We take it out with a Twin Needle. This was a very close battle. Could have gone very south very quick. We have some glaring weaknesses on the team, and let's start out by talking with Pinsir. Pinsir has no quad weaknesses, but it is weak to rock, flying, and fire, which is pretty good. It resists grass, fighting, and ground, which is also good. Pinsir, all in all, is a pretty solid Pokemon in my opinion, with no quad weaknesses. However, Paris has 2 quad weaknesses, 1 to fire, 1 to flying. It's also weak to bug, rock, ice, and poison. It has some resistances to ground and grass, which it quad resists, and then fighting, electric, and water, it resists. This Pokemon we have to be very, very careful using so that it doesn't faint on us from some of these quad weaknesses like fire and flying. Butterfree and Scyther share the same weaknesses where they have a quad weakness to rock. They have a weakness to flying, fire, electric, and ice because of their flying type. And they resist bug, and they quad resist grass and fighting. Fighting is going to be no issue for us, but a lot of the fighting types later on do have some rock type moves. Beedrill and Venonat are going to have the same weaknesses because they're both bug poison. They are weak to rock, psychic, flying, and fire. They only have 1 more weakness than Pinsir, and that is psychic because of their poison type. However, they do quad resist grass and fighting. They resist fairy, which isn't in this game, but they resist poison and bug as well. Fire and flying are going to be some of the most prominent moves that we have to deal with throughout this run. Blaine scares me, but I have a plan. The rival battle on the SSN is very similar to the rival battle in Cerulean, as we take out Pidgeotto with 2 Vice Grips, we take out Charmeleon with 2 Vice Grips, and they get a Gustin and Ember respectively on us to drop us into low yellow health. We swap into Achilles for the Raticate battle. We hit it with a Twin Needle, it hits us with a Hyper Fang times 2 to take us low into the yellow health. We do get the poison with Twin Needle, and the second Twin Needle takes it out. Kadabra is a one-shot with Twin Needle. That is why I left him in. It was a dangerous play, but Kadabra doesn't have a priority move, nor one that could take us out, so we were perfectly safe. Lieutenant Surge is typically easy, especially if you can teach a Pokemon Dig. We taught Pinsir Dig. It has a high attack stat, so we one-shot Voltorb, we one-shot Pikachu, and we one-shot Raichu. We did have a Cherry Berry equipped just in case of paralysis shenanigans, and luckily we hit through Raichu's 2 double teams to one-shot it. Surge is never an issue. Maybe if we do a flying type run, he'll be an issue. Before leaving Vermilion City, you want to make sure you talk to this lady in the Pokemon Center to get the Versus Seeker. We're going to need this later on. There are going to be some level caps that we have to do some grinding to get to, and the Versus Seeker helps us with that so we don't have to fight wild Pokemon. We grabbed the bike voucher as well while we were here, so we are now set to go back to Cerulean. There are many different routes that have Pokemon Centers on one end and the other. This is one of those routes. Our Pokemon are fully healed and they're decently leveled up. Pinsir gained 1 more level in the Surge battle, and I do want to get the Hidden Ether that's in that rock right there, and that's going to make us have to fight 1 more trainer. There are a few trainers that we have to fight along this route, and I'm really planning my steps here as I go because of the major weaknesses. One of the trainers that we can avoid does have a Charmander, so we don't want to put ourselves in unnecessary danger. But we do want to fight these trainers and still gain levels. Being that we only have 6 encounters, if we lose one Pokemon, this run could very well end or go a vastly different direction. I think we're going to need all of these Pokemon to get to the end, and potentially some of them are literally just going to be fodder. With all of that in mind, if our Pokemon drop below half health, we do need to make sure that we run to the nearest Pokemon Center or stock up on some healing items so that we don't run into any issues. I think honestly this route's going to be relatively easy. There's a rare candy I want to grab as well. Rock Tunnel scares me a bit because there's a lot of trainers in there with Geodudes and Gravelers and stuff that like to blow up and do other crazy things. Parasect, however, knows Bullet Seed, which is going to help us traverse through Rock Tunnel, I believe. This is probably one of the most intense runs I've done yet as far as a hardcore Nuzlocke, and I am taking my time. I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit of the strategy that we're doing going forward. It's a long route from Cerulean City to Rock Tunnel, through Rock Tunnel, and then traversing all the way over to Celadon. A lot of trainers, a lot of things could go wrong. Luckily, we arrive in Celadon unscathed, and Celadon also has the next encounter for us, which is a Scyther. I only have 2,500 coins, so I don't have the 5,500 that we need, so I guess I'm going to go play the slots for a little while. There are some items that I could sell. I have a few TMs and maybe even my rare candies. I don't think this is going to net us anywhere near enough money, but there's things like Rock Tomb and Attract and Secret Power that we're just never going to use. So let's go sell some items, let's play some slots, and see if we can't get this Scyther. I'm never going to play the slots again. Many hours later, we have just enough coins to get the Scyther. Oh, so much grind. We're going to name Scyther Perseus, and it's going to go to the box, so let's check out what kind of nature it has. Well, it has a brave nature that's plus attack and minus speed. The minus speed isn't great, but this thing is speedy by nature anyway, so that might not be a problem. The plus attack is going to be very nice, especially against our next gym leader, Erica. We learn Wing Attack at level 26, so we leveled up Perseus in the gym here. We're not even at the level of cap, but we do one-shot both the Victory Bell and the Tangela with one Wing Attack. Vileplume comes out, and we don't quite one-shot it, and it does get off a Stun Spore. We should have put the Cherry Berry from Pinsir onto Scyther. There's some back and forth with us ultimately being the victor with a couple more Wing Attacks. I wasn't too worried. The Acid with the defense drop was a little concerning, but had we gotten too much lower in health, we would have just swapped out to Orpheus, who has Psychic, and we could have easily taken out the Vileplume. Next up is Boss Giovanni in the Rocket Hideout, who leads with Onyx, and we lead with Theseus because it has Bullet Seed. I did teach the Giga Drain TM to Butterfree instead of Theseus because it's going to learn Giga Drain at level 51? It was a choice that I made, but we take out the Onyx with a Bullet Seed, we take out Rhyhorn with a Bullet Seed, and when Kangaskhan comes out, we go for Spore. However, the Mach Punch activates our Effect Spore, putting it to sleep anyway, so we get a free switch in to Hercules, who takes out Kangaskhan with 2 Brick Breaks. Very easy fight. Next up is the Pokemon Tower Rival Fight, which is normally pretty easy because we are a bit over-leveled. However, I did lead with the wrong Pokemon. I meant to lead with Hercules, but Perseus takes a weak Gust and 2 Wing Attacks take out Pidgeotto. Charmeleon comes out and we actually crit with a Wing Attack for a one-shot. Execute, of course, is a one-shot with Wing Attack. Alakazam goes down to a Wing Attack and then a Pursuit. And last is Gyarados. We're getting pretty low on health, so I decided to start switching around some Pokemon. I try to let Achilles do some stuff, but to be honest with you, it just doesn't hit that hard. Beedrill's not that great in this generation. We eventually swap to Parasect to hit a Spore, and then we finally get Hercules out with a Rock Slide to take down Gyarados. On Route 12, we meet Minos the Venonat. It has a hardy neutral nature. This thing's going to be okay. I don't think it's going to keep the compound eyes, so Butterfree might slightly outclass this. Since Sabrina and Koga have the same level cap at level 43, I taught Theseus the Thief TM here, and we went back to Nugget Bridge, fighting some wild Abra to get our hands on a couple of Twisted Spoons. Both Minos and Orpheus can learn Psychic. Orpheus was taught via the TM, and Venonat learns it at level 41 if you don't evolve it into a Venomoth. So with both of these Pokemon knowing Psychic and Venomoth being part Poison type, I think Koga's going to be easy, and we can edge it out with the Twisted Spoon. Minos would probably be the better lead just because it can't get poisoned, but we go with Orpheus because it's slightly better in special attack, and we one-shot the first Coughing. Muck comes out, and we do some serious damage. Muck just goes for minimize, so we take it out with a second Psychic. The second Coughing comes out, and we take it out with a single Psychic, and last is Wheezing. Wheezing doesn't go down to a Psychic, so there is back and forth with Hyper Potions, and eventually we are the victor. Never getting poisoned. We did get hit with one Sludge, and the other thing that was quite concerning with this battle is both Coughings. I believe both Coughings, maybe it's only just one, and the Wheezing, however, though, can blow up with Self-Destruct, and that would have definitely taken Orpheus out. And I think Orpheus is our better of the two between Venomoth and Butterfree. After clearing out Sylph Company, we have a rival battle at the top. We lead with Hercules this time. Pidgeot does tank a Rock Slide pretty good. It hits us with a fairly strong wing attack. We do take it out with a second Rock Slide. Charizard comes out next, and we take it out with a single Rock Slide. It is quad weak to Rock. Next is Execute, so I pivot to Perseus, who takes it out with a wing attack. We do get paralyzed in the process. And next up is Alakazam. I decide to send out Theseus to let him do some damage. The first official fight, not just fighting in the background. We do take it out with a couple of slashes, and last but not least, of course, is Gyarados, which we put to sleep, and we bring Hercules back out to take it out with a Rock Slide. We're getting some pretty good luck with the Rock Slide here. I hope that luck holds out. Next up is the Giovanni boss battle in Sylph Company. He leads with Nidorino, and we lead with Minos. Minos takes it down with a single Psychic, and out comes Rhyhorn. We swapped to Theseus to do some damage with Bullet Seed, taking it out, and I forgot that he doesn't have Onix anymore, so out comes Nidoqueen. We swap back to Minos to take it out with a couple of Psychics, and last but not least is Kangaskhan. We do have the type advantage on Hercules, so we put it to sleep and swap to Hercules, and of course it doesn't stay asleep because sleep tactics don't always work. We do take it down with a couple of Brick Breaks, taking no damage in the process, so all in all, we're fine. Next up is Sabrina, and Achilles hasn't gotten much screen time, so we're going to go with it for a lead. I know we can outspeed and take out the Kadabra with a Twin Needle. We actually outspeed and take out Mr. Mime with a Twin Needle, and I'm hoping for a little bit of luck to be on our side, to be faster than her beastly Alakazam, but we're not. And she hits a Psychic, and I watch the health tick all the way down to 6 HP, and had that been a crit, Achilles would have been gone. A Twin Needle does take Alakazam out, that is insane. And last up is Venomoth, so we swap to Orpheus to take it out with a Psychic. Wow. Beedrill's just not a great Pokemon in this generation, as I said. However, I have ran the game with only a Beedrill in the past. I know it can do some of these main battles. So we took a chance, and we lucked out. This is the battle that I've been dreading since the start of this run, and I do have a strategy going against Blaine. The strategy mostly involves Hercules here. We did run around Rock Tunnel fighting Onix with Theseus, and we got ourselves a Hearthstone. It took 68 Onix. It's a 1 in 20 chance of getting a Hearthstone, and we went through 68 of them before we stole one. We also taught Hercules Rain Dance. Now, Rock Slide is the stronger of the two moves between Dig and Rock Slide, so I'm hoping we can set up a Rain Dance and then go for a Hearthstone boosted Rock Slide to take out some of these Pokemon. We're still going to need a little bit of luck with Fire Blast missing. Alright, moment of truth. Blaine leads with Growlithe, we lead with Hercules. The Intimidate can't affect us because of our ability Hypercutter. We lead off with Rain Dance, and Growlithe misses a Fire Blast. That is huge. We take out Growlithe with Rock Slide, we take out Ponyta with Rock Slide, we take out Rapidash with Rock Slide, and we get to Arcanine with full health. We miss Rock Slide, Arcanine misses Fire Blast, and the rain stops. I cannot set up another rain. We hit a Rock Slide and it gets the flinch. That is huge. That is amazing. And Blaine goes back and forth with a couple of Hyper Potions as we land successful Rock Slides back to back, eventually taking out the Arcanine without taking a single tick, not one damage from Arcanine. I knew we could survive a Fire Blast in the rain, but if Growlithe had hit us off the bat, we would not have survived. This was an extremely lucky battle, and we could have lost Hercules, which has been an invaluable member of the team. Now, I normally don't do the Sevi Island stuff because it wasn't part of the original game, but over on 2 Island, there is a move tutor, and we can teach Minos Silverwind with a couple of tiny mushrooms. We're going to do that. I don't know if we're going to use Silverwind in the future, but it is definitely better than Leech Life. Last gym time. Giovanni leads with Rhyhorn. We lead with Hercules. We go to set up a Swords Dance, and this Rhyhorn actually has a rock move. I did not know that. And Rock Blast actually does some serious damage. We go for Dig and take it out, and the second Rhyhorn comes out. I forgot we had Brick Break, so we use that to one-shot the second Rhyhorn. Doug Trio is next, and we one-shot it as well. Next up is Nidoqueen, so we go for a second Swords Dance. It hits us with a Body Slam and paralyzes us. Of course it does. Oh, so we go for a Brick Break, forgetting that it's not very effective. It does quite a bit of damage. We get hit with another Body Slam, and we take out Nidoqueen with a Rock Slide. Last up is Nidoking. We're very low in health and paralyzed, so we swap to Orpheus, who takes it out with a single Psychic. That is the gym leaders complete with a team of bugs. We got this. Last before the Elite Four is our rival Gary. We decide to set up a Swords Dance against Pidgeot, and it hits us with a Wing Attack. We can survive another one, so we go for a second Swords Dance. We do survive a second Wing Attack. If that had been a crit, it would have taken us out for sure. But we take the Pidgeot out with a Rock Slide, and next comes Rhyhorn. We take it out with a single Brick Break. Next is Charizard. We take it out with a single Rock Slide, and next is Execute. We go for Dig, which doesn't quite take it out, so we take it out with a Brick Break. Out comes Alakazam, and we take it out with a single Dig. And last is Gyarados, who we one-shot with a Rock Slide. We just swept Gary's whole team with Pinsir. Amazing. After getting through Victory Road, we've leveled all of our Pokemon to level 60. Hercules' moves are Brick Break, Swords Dance, Earthquake, and Rock Slide. Minos' moves are Psychic, Supersonic, Silver Wind, and Sleep Powder. Perseus is Wing Attack, Swords Dance, Steel Wing, and Slash. This is going to be our answer to Bruno. Orpheus has Psychic, Sleep Powder, Giga Drain, and Supersonic. Achilles has Aerial Ace, Brick Break, Twin Needle, and we taught him Return just in case. And last but not least is Theseus with Thief, Giga Drain, Growth, and Spore. This is the team that is going to take on the Elite Four. First up for the Elite Four is Lorelei and her Ice/Water types. I decide to set up 3 Swords Dances with Hercules, and then we proceed to one-shot every single one of her Pokemon. Dugong and Cloyster go down to Rock Slides, Slowbro goes down to an Earthquake because it's not an Ice type, and Lapras and Jinx go down to a single Rock Slide apiece. I knew this was going to be a fairly easy battle. Rock Slide has been an invaluable move, and Hercules has been an invaluable Pokemon through the entire run. We do need to just be careful setting up some of these Swords Dances and stuff that we don't lose our Hercules, because he is our main answer to both Lance and Gary. The whole reason we taught Scyther Steel Wing was for this fight. I decided to go for a single Swords Dance, hoping for a Rock Tomb miss, and we actually get a Rock Tomb miss, so we go for Steel Wing, and of course it misses. Karma. Rock Tomb hits, and it doesn't do as much damage as I thought it would, but it does get the speed drop, which is unfortunate. We take Onix out with a single Steel Wing, and we do get a defense buff. We actually outspeed Hitmonchan to take it out with a Wing Attack, and we outspeed Machamp to take it out with a single Wing Attack. However, we do not outspeed Hitmonlee, who does hit us Not very hard, so we take it out with a single wing attack, and last is his last Onyx, which actually doesn't know a rock move, and we take it out with a single steel wing. I knew Scyther was going to be the counter to Bruno, and I was correct. Orpheus is our counter to Agatha here. We put her first Gengar to sleep. I'm not sure if Psychic will one-shot it or not, but surprisingly it does. It also one-shots Golbat, and when Arbok comes out, Psychic is not enough to take it out. That is very surprising. Agatha uses a full restore, so we put it to sleep. I try to go for a Giga Drain to edge it a little bit, and the next Psychic actually doesn't take it out. I just go for Psychic to finish it off, and next is her last Gengar. We try to put it to sleep before it puts us to sleep, and a Psychic takes it low into the red health, but with the Citrus Berry, it pulls it right out of healing range, which I knew would happen, so we hit it with a second Psychic to take it out, and Haunter, of course, is a one-shot, being that the first Gengar was a one-shot. Very easy Agatha battle. Last for the Elite Four is Lance, who leads with his Gyarados, and we go with Hercules. We decide to set up a Swords Dance, and Gyarados hits us with a Dragon Rage. That's not too bad. So we set up a second Swords Dance, and it hits us with a Bite. Not wanting to take too much more damage, I do just take the Gyarados out with a Rock Slide, and out comes the most scary Pokemon on Lance's team, and that is his Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl hits us with a Stab, super effective Ancient Power, which takes us to 21 HP. I cannot believe we survived that. We take it out with a single Rock Slide, and next up is Dragonite. I'm thankful Dragonite came out. I was hoping it would be Dragonite and not the Dragonairs, so we do take it out with a single Rock Slide. Not wanting to sack Hercules as he is an answer to Gary, we swap into Achilles to let him do some damage. And to be honest with you, Achilles is not going to do anything for us, and I have two other Pokemon I can use for fodder if I need to. So we just leave him in, and he eventually gets taken out. So we let Scyther come in and clean up the last couple of Dragonairs. Champion Gary time. He leads with Pidgeot, and I go for a Swords Dance. It hits us with a pretty nasty Aerial Ace. Not wanting to get hit with a second one, I decide to go for a Rock Slide, which misses. Luckily, we don't get the critical hit on the Aerial Ace, so we survive with 23 HP, and out comes Rhydon. We one-shot it with a Brick Break, and next up is Charizard, who we take out with a single Rock Slide. Next up is Alakazam, and I just leave Hercules in there, and I go ahead and decide to say goodbye to our friend, our hero, our demigod, Hercules the Pinsir. I decide to bring Minos out for the Alakazam fight. I know we're weak to Psychic, but Silverwind does some serious damage, and back and forth with 3 different full restores, we finally take Alakazam out, and Execute comes out next. There's some back and forth. I finally decide to send out Perseus with Wing Attack to take out this Execute. Of course, it puts us to sleep. We have to deal with some sleep, and we eventually take it out. And last but not least is Gyarados. I decide to swap DCS in to put it to sleep, so I can swap Perseus back in to set up a Swords Dance. We hit it with a Slash, we take it low. Gary full restores, of course, taking the sleep away. I'm worried that we're going to start losing some serious Pokemon here, but Perseus perseveres and gets a critical hit Wing Attack to take out the Gyarados, winning us the battle. This was a 5.5 minute battle of real time. You guys, of course, are watching it sped up. I was very nervous in this fight, especially when Hercules went down. But at the end of the day, we survived. Our team of bugs persevered, and I sacked Achilles in the last fight, and I didn't need to. In this fight, same thing, we lost a couple of Pokemon. But really, we made it all the way to the end of the game with 6 bugs. Can you believe that? This was an extremely fun run. I didn't think that Pinsir was going to be such a valuable member of the team, and I'm glad we went ahead and led with it. There's not a lot of bug types, and they're not very strong, but in FireRed, you can beat the game with pretty much anything. I've beaten it with a Metapod before. We've beaten it with a Sunkern. This game really isn't that difficult if you know how to play. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me play through this. Again, Pinsir was an invaluable member, Scyther was an invaluable member, and Butterfree was an invaluable member as well. The other Pokemon were kind of lackluster, but they were on the team nonetheless, and they had their own individual uses. We used Theseus to get ourselves some Twisted Spoons and a Hearthstone. Venomoth came in clutch in a couple of different battles, and Achilles, of course, was our main answer to Sabrina, so we gotta give it mad props for taking on a Psychic Trainer being Poison type. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know by leaving a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. I think my next challenge is going to be a Feebas only run. It's going to be a long one, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you on the next one.